Peterson. I'm a certified personal trainer, both in person and online, and a certified nutrition coach. I help moms locally in Las Vegas, Nevada, and all over the world shed the weight holding them back from becoming their most energetic and authentic version of themselves so they can go after their deepest desires alongside of motherhood. You can find me at fitandconfidentmoms.com. Hey everybody, I have a story to tell. So I have to confess, when my kids were growing up and I felt overwhelmed, anxious, or lonely, I actually used to turn to food for comfort. And I didn't realize this until after I was through that young, most challenging part of motherhood. And the way that would look like is if I had a hard day with the kids, and at the end of the day, I would look into the freezer, grab my favorite ice cream, and the words I would tell to myself is, I deserve this. And I would get some ice cream, get the ice cream out of the freezer, bring it to the counter. Then I'd get a bowl, scoop it out, and actually intend to have just one bowl of ice cream. But then after I finished that ice cream, I would go back and I would get the carton and just start eating out of it. Sometimes I would eat half the carton, other times I would eat the whole thing. And what I didn't realize then that I know now, and I help with my clients today, is that I was using that food for comfort. I was using that food to get over the feelings of overwhelm, get over the feelings of being lonely, like feeling that, like lonely in the sense of like when you're in the thick of it raising kids, you feel like you're all alone sometimes, and that this is a really hard situation. You're the mom, the only mom that can take care of what your kids need, right? And now I help my clients today identify that so that we can stay consistent with our goals. So if you can resonate with that, type in the comments if that is something that you've experienced. And if you're watching, type live. And if you're watching the replay, type replay. That way it can get this message out to other people that Rose is talking live and she's teaching about something that you might want to know. Okay, so let me pull my notes up and also silence another page so that I can concentrate on what I wanted to teach you. So if you know that you struggle with stress eating, or you seem to find yourself turning to food when you are having a stressful day, then stick with me because I'm going to teach you guys some strategies to overcome stress eating. Now, you might wonder, like, well, who cares? Like, who cares if I had a hard day and I go get my favorite bagel or my favorite pastry? Like, this feels good. And I totally get it. I understand food does feel good. It gives you a positive response. But if we're working on weight loss, so there's two reasons I want to kind of point out, like why we want to identify this, why we want to overcome stress eating, is because one, if you're working on a weight loss goal and you're good most of the time, these situations of turning to food when you're stressed is going to take you much longer, if maybe never, to reach that weight loss goal. And number two is it's not healthy for us to turn to food as our only coping mechanism. If food is our only coping mechanism to deal with stress and overwhelm, then that's actually not healthy for us, right? We could deal with weight gain. We can end up dealing with medical problems associated with overeating. So we want to make sure that we learn other strategies around this that has, or around stress and emotions and overwhelm that has nothing to do with food. Okay. And I'm going to share those tips with you. And I see some people pop it in. So if you're watching live, say hello. And I would love to know which tip you're going to take away from today. Okay. So let me look at my notes. So my tip number one is give yourself some self-compassion. So if you, for example, find yourself reaching for that chocolate, driving through Starbucks in the middle of your day because it was stressful and you like want to reward yourself, it's okay. Okay, just pause for a moment, give yourself some self-compassion, recognize what you're dealing with, and tell yourself that it is going to be okay. And it's okay that you're feeling like you want something to eat. The most important thing is to pause and recognize your feelings so that you can go through the feelings instead of trying to ignore them and cover them up. So, pausing is really powerful, right? And taking a moment to ask yourself, like, okay, I feel like I want something to eat. What is this about? Am I hungry? When's the last time I ate? And you can recognize that pause can be like, oh, actually, like, I'm not hungry. Let me tune into my hunger. I'm not hungry. I'm feeling something else. Maybe I'm feeling anxious. Maybe I'm feeling stressed. Maybe I'm feeling like overwhelm. And it's so important to acknowledge your feelings, because if we don't acknowledge them and go through them, then we're going to end up in this cycle of always trying to cover it up and always trying to cover up with other things. They're going to come back. Okay. So, number two, know that these feelings that you're feeling are normal. Okay. Um, it's normal to, like, you know, if we have an injury or a stressful day or a big appointment, like, we actually unknowingly may have picked this up as kids growing up, where if we had a big doctor's appointment, or we fell off our bike, or we went to the dentist and maybe we had no cavities. I know this sounds silly, but like, maybe we had no cavities and your parents were like, woohoo, we're going to get ice cream after this. Or you get shots at the doctor and you're like, all right, well, we're going to go get smoothies after this. So we may have grown up learning that in uncomfortable situations, stressful situations, scary situations, we're going to go for food to feel better. So just don't beat yourself up too much. We may have learned these behaviors, and our parents are just doing the best that they can, right? And the other part is that it's in our biology. We're wired to seek out food or sugar um, when our stress goes up. And that's because we have this funny hormone called cortisol that increases when our stress goes up. And when our cortisol increases, so do our hunger hormones. So a lot of times we have these physical sensations that we need food now. It might not even be emotional, it might be physical. We have this physical reaction that we need to get through this. So give yourself some self-compassion that, one, this could be a learned behavior that we didn't realize, and our parents may have not realized that they were showing us the only strategy to get over uncomfortable feelings or scary things was for food. And then two, when we're in this stressful state, and I'm like literally shaking, our cortisol increases, and therefore our hunger hormones get affected, and our body needs and wants sugar right away to get through that stressful situation. Okay, so if you're watching, I would love for you to type in the comments, did you find something similar to that situation? Like, maybe like you had this pattern and now you're like, oh my gosh, I do that too. That, like, maybe after a stressful appointment or something like that, you will go stop for food, right? Or get a treat for yourself to reward, like, getting through that situation. Okay. My next tip is to breathe. Okay, so we talked about pausing, but I also want you to be able to breathe. Okay, breathe, notice the name, notice that feeling. But there's another technique that I just found, which is that I read online last year, and it was called Act Like a Rag Doll. And this is a way to kind of release the stress from your body so that we can overcome that physical sensation instead of reaching for food. So acting like a rag doll, what you'll do is you'll tense up all your muscles really, really, really tight, and then release. Release like a rag doll, like literally like you are a doll. Okay. So then you're going to tense up and then release. And the motion of doing that continuously, it gives us this rhythmic motion that can help us get through anxiety, help us get through a panic attack, is going through this rhythmic motion. Okay, so let me know if you try that. Okay, tip number two is to brainstorm and jot down what I call a nourishment menu. What are things that you can do that can calm you down or make you feel calm instead of reaching for food? Okay, so finding ways to regulate our nervous system that feels soothing to us. So some ideas might be some self massage. Another thing that could be soothing is a warm cup of tea. And a recent study showed that chewing gum can actually curb cravings and curb stress. So, in the Journal of Appetite, it said chewing gum for 15 minutes before eating significantly reduced appetite and cravings. So, again, that's that rhythmic motion. So, that's something that you can try. Um, Also, if you're feeling these uncomfortable feelings, I like to say to let it pass like a wave or like an ocean wave, okay? And put some space between that urge to want to stress eat and actually eating. And if you put a few minutes of space in, you might find that in 5, 10, 20 minutes, you actually don't really want that thing. So feel the uncomfortable feeling, let it pass over you. You could do something like a puzzle on your phone. You could do something like knitting and you could go for a walk. These are all things that one will calm your nervous system, but two, give some space between the urge to stress eat and actually eating. Okay. And my last tip is sleep. Hi, Leslie. Thank you for watching live. I have found that a lot of women and men, but a lot of us are not getting enough sleep. And sleep is so crucial. Uh, when we're not rested enough, then we're kind of in this low level state of fight or flight all the time because we haven't really recovered. So it's really easy to give in to our stressful feeling and grab that food when we haven't been sleeping enough. A lot of moms that I coach, a lot of high performing women, we handle a lot of stress on a day to day, and it's just unavoidable. We're doing a lot of things. We're running our homes, running our businesses, going to work. Maybe we're trying to further our career. Maybe we're supporting a big business on a project. We have children. We have a lot going on. So if we aren't sleeping well and eating well on a consistent basis, then we're more likely to have a hard time overcoming stress or overcoming new stressful situations. So, if we can make sure that we're sleeping well, 7 to 9 hours a night, we're going to arm ourselves with the calm and the rest that we needed so that we can deal with the day-to-day stress. Okay. So we can actually pause because it's hard to like pause and breathe. Like, okay, Rose said to pause and breathe. It is hard to pause and breathe if we're already feeling very heightened, very stressed, and like how to pause like this and like things are triggering you on a very easy basis. But if you've had sleep, you like just I've tested this and my clients have tested this. If you've had sleep and you've had time to recover from yesterday's stress, you're able to pause and reflect instead of getting into this tight loop, if that makes sense. Okay, so I would love to know in the comments if you're sticking with me, what is a tip that you would take away today? Or maybe you had an aha moment, or maybe you just remembered something that you used to do and like, oh yeah, I heard about that tip. I'm going to try it out. I would love to know in the comments. And if you need ideas on making some healthy recipes in your house, healthier desserts, I have a free recipe pack for this month as my freebie for February. So if you need some ideas of some healthy, delicious food that is easy to put together that can help you with your weight loss goals, then type recipes in the comments and then I will send that over to you. All right. Until next time, this is Coach Rose rooting for you to go after more in 2024. See you later. Bye bye.